Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about a crucial part in a PoE system. This is an Ethernet cable. This is a very important part in our PoE system because it can help us transmit the power and data to our edge devices. Without this, we can say our whole system cannot be functional. In my previous video, we've talked about how to use one Cat5 cable to power two IP cameras. So now we're going to discuss in a deeper detail. So now let's take a look at this Ethernet cable. It is cut open and we can see there are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. These are the 8 wires, and usually they are in form of a twisted wires. That's why we call there are 4 pairs of twisted wires in an Ethernet cable. They are formed in a twisted wire because this reduces the redundancy of the transmission. It's about the physics when it comes to electricity. And we can see when it goes with PoE and PoE plus, we normally say there are 2 pairs of wires occupied. Imagine it is these 2 pairs. These 2 pairs will transmit the power and data. If it is a newer made model of the power supply equipment, it will transmit the power and data on these 2 pairs. But when it comes to older devices, the technology was not mature then, and they would choose these 2 vacant wires and transmit the power through here. In the previous video, we used a splitter to physically divide the power and data from an Ethernet cable and then power 2 IP cameras. So you can imagine, normally the power and data will both go through these 2 pairs, and once we use a splitter, these 2 vacant ones will be occupied as well and used to provide power and data to the second IP camera. Although we have to know, for the older models, when they occupy these 2 vacant wires for power transmission, this method would not work by using a splitter. Because in that case, if we occupy these 2, there will be no power to the first IP device. Thus, the second IP device will lack of power or data as well. So when we use the method we learned from the video, we should make sure that we have the P that will occupy 2 pairs of twisted wire for power and data. So here are some methods we can see to see if our 4 pairs of wire are all occupied or only 2 of them are occupied. So we need a Ethernet cable, which has the 2 ends clamped, and then we need this PoE checker. So we turn the PoE checker on, connect our PoE switch with the PoE checker, and now the PoE test. You can see that wire 1, 2, 3, and 6 are occupied. This is usually the 2 pairs that are mainly used for power and data transmission. And you can see it also has the voltage of the device. It is complying to the IE 802.3 AT protocol. So this Ethernet cable is currently occupying 2 pairs of the twisted wires to transmit power and data. So this power supply equipment is okay for us to use that method by physically splitting the wire into 2 IP cameras. Now this is a device but what happens if we don't have something like this and we still want to test it? There's another way. We can take an Ethernet cable that we don't use and cut it open at the middle, but not fully. We only cut open the outer layer. And then when we see these twisted wires, we cut wires 7 and 8. And once these 2 are cut, you make sure it's these 2 both. We have to cut this pair. And if this pair is cut and our device is still operating, this means it doesn't use the 4 vacant wires for transmission. But if we cut this pair and the IP device starts to malfunction or powers down, this means this is the situation where our power supply equipment transmits data on 2 pairs and power on the other 2 pairs. This is more of a physical way. We can use like any Ethernet cable to do it. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys have any more questions about the Ethernet cable, you can leave them at the section below. And thank you guys for watching today. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.